It's mailbag time here, folks. And remember, if you want to bet on the NFL, do it with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code NFL Daily. From Elise Pin, Diggs the next Deion Sanders. I will forever love Deion, my all-time favorite corner. I am very hesitant to throw in that level of comparison. Maybe Diggs is the souped-up version of Xavier, or not souped-up, but souped-up version of Marcus Peters or Xavier Howard. Now, Deion did something that was very unique to him. He was truly a master at baiting opposing quarterbacks. Yeah, I didn't say it the dirty way. You're welcome, or I'm sorry, I'm not sure which. And Diggs has shown that as well. I'm worried about him getting hurt. I don't hate the idea of giving him a receiver rep or two this year. I have been very impressed by Trevon Diggs, one of the favorites to win Defensive Player of the Year. I am hesitant to throw out the Deion Sanders comp because that's the guy I think is the best corner of all time. So I'm hesitant at that level of comp. From Jacob, if Frank Reich refuses to bench Carson Wentz, since he wants to win, will the Colts fire him? So I think this is a good question looking ahead, even beyond week 5, week 6, week 7. As the season moves on, if the Colts are not contenders with I think it's 75 or 70, whichever one it is, came off the top of my head, with that percentage of snaps for Carson Wentz to play, and if he does, the Colts' first-round pick conveys to the Philadelphia Eagles. If the Colts aren't in contention, they must bench Carson Wentz. It would be franchise negligence, fireable franchise negligence from the top, from the GM to the head coach and more. If the Colts are not contenders and they're playing Carson Wentz late in the season when it does not matter and they convey a first-round pick, that is a failure. So right now, sure, play Carson Wentz. Come week 11, week 12, you know if you're a contender or not. And if you're not, bench Carson Wentz. Do not allow him to have that first-round pick go to Philly. From Doom, Kadarius Toney looks like the real deal. Can he keep up the production for a season and only be a weekly starter in fantasy? Good question. Now, Tony's got the injury right now. I think he'll be okay. Not going to be suspended for his punch of DeMonte Casey. Tony broke out. Here's my concern with Kadarius Toney. I worry he's going to be a little bit more like Percy Harvin. The Giants were down 3 of their top receivers. I would not put it past Jason Garrett to not feature Toney as heavily. He should be a starter for them. If that is the case, if the volume, or at least even half the volume, stays what it was, yes, keep playing Toney. I don't know if he's going to be much more than a high-risk, high-reward flex, but I was very impressed by Toney. Rough start to his season, but doing much better. From Aaron, what a great name. What can the Chiefs do to fix their defense? If I had the answer to that question, I would be a very wealthy person because I'd be an NFL top-tier GM. I think getting back Frank Clark and having him not be terrible is step number 1. I still don't know if Chris Jones is really a good fit as a defensive end, but this Chiefs defense, there's no way around it, guys. They suck. The linebackers, I would move full-time, Willie Gay, Nick Bolton. The secondary outside of Tyrann Mathieu, Juan Thornhill, hasn't been that heavily invested in relative to draft pick or money. Look, you couldn't afford Stephon Gilmore. I'd call about a Cam Dantzler, but the Chiefs' defense is a major red flag. I wish I had the answer here. I think they have to look at the trade market. If they're trying to win right now, KC, as difficult as it is, needs to look for a trade partner before the NFL deadline. Speaking of defenses, who is the best defense in the NFL right now? I thought it might be the Broncos, then they let the Steelers score all over them. So, almost no wrong answer. If you put the Jets, you're wrong, for example. But I'm curious, who do you think is the best defense in the NFL right now? If you get hit with the ad break here on YouTube, then scroll on down, head to the pinned comment, and let me know. From William Dodge Jr., how does Bill Belichick get away such a bad GM move? Not moving Gilmore after the Defensive Player of the Year if you were never going to re-sign him later and lose him for a 6 when you could have got so much more. Well, I think that this is that's very much a benefit of hindsight take, which is fair. Here's the problem. After 2019, the Patriots thought they were still contenders. So Belichick has been willing in the past to move on from guys early. He did that really with Gilmore and, Chandler Jones before. The issue here, the Patriots thought they were contenders. They were not ready for a down year from Gilmore, and most importantly, him getting hurt. That injury really drove down Gilmore's value. So with the hindsight view, 100% they should have moved Stephon Gilmore. Ended up timing hurt them, and they weren't ready for it. And at this point as well, as it relates to Bill Belichick, greatest coach of all time. They've missed plenty in the draft and as a GM, and that's in reality how life works in the NFL. Elio, after 5 weeks, what's your take on Mac Jones winning Offensive Rookie of the Year? I think Mac Jones has been a good football player. Again, my player comp for him has not changed, and it's not going to change. This man, through and through, I mean, he's Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's okay. That's not like a terrible bad thing, but his ADOT's pretty darn low this year. He's not been his completed air yards is 5, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 7th worst in the NFL. His average ADOT's a little bit higher than that. He is a steady, reliable-ish player for a first-year quarterback. With the way the other quarterbacks have played, yeah, he might end up winning Rookie of the Year unless one of those receivers or Najee Harris balls out. So Mac Jones, a good bet for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Maybe Justin Fields keeps that job and balls out. I doubt it goes to Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence. I got no problem putting Jones in that conversation. I don't want to anoint him as anything more right now than a bit of a game manager. He has to be better vertically downfield before I give him that tag and that designation. From Len Bash 3, do you think Russell Wilson is really going to demand a trade this offseason? So a lot of this comes down to what happens the rest of this season. If Seattle misses the playoffs, whether it's because Wilson was hurt or because he couldn't rally them down the stretch, I think he might. Clearly there were issues entering this offseason between Russ and the Seahawks. A trade at that time never made sense for me. After this year ends, it does start to make a little bit more sense. So we'll have to see on that front, but we will keep you guys updated with what's going on around the NFL. The trade deadline is less than a month away, and we will have plenty of trade updates and rumors and speculation for you guys. If that's something you want, hit that big red button. And subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter or somewhere else, it's the link at the bottom of your screen, youtube.com/chatsportstv. For the man, the myth, the legend, Steph Curry, will Michael Gallup come off of IR after the bye week? That's my suspicion. We will see if that ends up being the case or not. They don't have to rush him back, but the timing of the injury, I did think made a lot of sense for Gallup to come back after the bye week for the Dallas Cowboys. From Brian Coward, a Niners fan, how do you think Trey Lance did in his first start? The numbers aren't great. It was under 60% completion percentage, under 200 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 INT. Also didn't have George Kittle against a Cardinals team that's done a great job this year of limiting explosive big plays. Lance did some good things. We also knew coming out of North Dakota State, he was a bit more raw. I almost said, is raw a word? Either way, you guys know. A bit more raw than some of the other prospects. But the arm talent is there. The athletic ability is there. Lance is a longer-term draft pick than just right now by San Francisco. So we'll see how he looks moving forward. I'm not panicked on that front as it relates to Trey Lance, but still plenty of room to grow. Not panic time yet either. From Robert Bruce, hello Sam, hello Tom, great job fellows. Wondering what percentage would you give the Patriots to make the playoffs, and they need to beat Buffalo to show they're contenders and not pretenders? I think right now this Patriots team looks an awful more like a pretender than a contender right now. Now they competed against the Bucs in a heavy rain. That's good. They also nearly lost to Houston. And I like their defensive game plan. We're going to dare Davis Mills to beat us. He couldn't beat Buffalo. Then he almost beat New England. So if they beat the Cowboys this week or the Bills at some point this year, or the Chargers at some point this year, I will feel better about them. I think it's a bit more likely they end up finishing somewhere around 500. Of course, not quite 500, but you get the point. From Jacob, will the Ravens pick up Hollywood Brown's fifth-year option? Oof, it's a good question. I don't know. I would lean towards yes, they pick it up, but you can't, get out of it as easy as you once were able to. It adds to some, complexity there. I lean towards yes if he continues to show some of the breakout flashes that we've seen in the past. He had a terrible game against the Lions, better around that. So I lean towards yes, but I'm not all the way there for them picking up the option. It's a good question, Jacob. Curtis Watts, Lakers fan. What do you think about Michael Pittman Jr.? That is the Colts wide receiver. Of course, went to USC, so maybe that's the connection there for Curtis. Always a Colts fan. Promising young player. The production's been up and down. I think he's more of a possession guy. I don't think he's ever going to be an elite receiver, but as like a good number two, I think that's what he could be. Right now, the Colts, I don't think, have a true number one wideout. Who do you guys think will win NFL MVP this season? Get your votes in for me in the comment section, and if you're feeling bold, go put some money down. Put your money where your mouth is, folks. At BetUS, chatsports.com/bet. Promo code NFL Daily. Think about it this way. If you feel good about somebody, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, whatever, put down $100 on BetUS. You will get an extra $125 for free, so take 10, 15 of that, bet it on your MVP pick. Even if you're wrong, you are still literally playing with house money. So head over, chatsports.com/bet, promo code NFL Daily. From Davey24142. All right, nice. Even if he was cheap, does Denver regret signing Kyle Fuller? He's been brutal so far. I have been surprised by the poor play out of Kyle Fuller so far this season. I don't think it would be a regretful signing. Because look, they've been hit pretty hard by injuries. Ojamudie's got hurt. Darby got hurt. So if you didn't have Fuller, boy, it would have been rough. Yeah, it's been a disappointment so far out of Fuller, but no, I don't think it's a situation where Denver regrets it. Maybe disappointed is the right word so far. From 12L, do you think Najee Harris will go over 1,000 yards rushing and 500 receiving yards? So right now, he's at 307 yards. So again, if you do the math right there, 307 divided by 17, at that point, I think that there is a very real chance that Harris gets to 1,000 rushing yards. The math in the end works out to just over it. The receiving is close enough as well. I think my answer is yes, and in large part is because of the volume that Najee Harris is going to have. Pittsburgh is not going to rotate in backs heavily as other teams do. Harris is going to get massive volume. He's already up over 100 touches easily this year. He is going to get a massive situation in terms of the volume in fantasy and real life for Pittsburgh. From Caleb Clemens, should the Giants trade Jabrill Peppers to the Falcons for Mike Davis if Saquon Barkley's hurt? Oh, now you're getting creative here. Ignoring the contracts what the team's invested in, I actually don't hate this. I think that because if you're going to lose Jabrill Peppers, and you've got good safety, producer Marshall, our Giants fan, going like this behind the scenes saying no, I don't despise it. Here's my number one issue and why in the end I think the Giants should say no. It's a running back, and he's a backup. If you're going to trade Peppers at this point in the year, honestly, trade him for a draft pick. I don't mind the Giants being sellers, moving on from a guy you might not bring back in free agency, but to get him for a veteran back who's not going to be a long-term part, that's too much of a win-now move for a team that isn't going to be winning now enough right now. From Elise Pin, was Green Bay a good fit for Jalen Smith? Yeah, and look, he knows the head coach. He knows Mike or Matt LaFleur pretty well from their time they're together. The Packers needed another linebacker. I can't remember who it was. Let me pull up their depth chart. I was watching somebody, 44, what's his name, for Green Bay. Oh, Ty Summers sucks. He's terrible. That TCU legend, he was getting worked in everything. Jalen Smith at $7+ million a year, not a good value. Smith, for what I assume is the vet minimum, I actually haven't seen the official details yet. Not bad. So, as a linebacker depth, an upgrade over Warren Burks, maybe, Chris Barnes, definitely Ty Summers. Yeah, that's a good fit for Smith and for Green Bay. Izzy World. Don't the Chiefs remind you of the Cowboys last year? Great offense, horrible defense. You're damn right, Izzy. I actually said that earlier in our NFL news and rumors video. You're right. It's a great offense that cannot make mistakes because the defense is failing left and right. From Gamer Dude, will the Niners start Trey Lance or Jimmy G versus the Colts in Week 7? I don't know how close Jimmy G is to really being back, so it's still early in the week. Maybe I'll look dumb in a couple of days. Give me a Lance to start over Jimmy Garoppolo this upcoming week.